Hey there, Flesh and Blood folks. Welcome back to Dice Commando and Go Again, a fabulous cast. Thanks for tuning in here with me. It's currently Sunday morning on the first weekend of the ProQuest. Results have been trickling in all weekend, will continue to trickle in. But one thing's pretty clear in the early results, which is Elemental Bravo, Starvo, EBravo, whatever the kids want to call him these days. He's holding a significant portion of the top cuts. He's not winning everything. He certainly is not dominating by any means. But you know that a lot of people are going to be looking at these results, and the trickle down to our local meta is going to be real, right? So today I want to talk about really how he works, why he's so strong early, and how we can set ourselves up for success against him. A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando. Hey there, Flesh and Blood folks. Man, it has been quite the weekend, hasn't it? Watching ProQuest results coming across from across the globe. Maybe you got to go out and play in one. All the ones here locally for us are starting in next week, so maybe you're like in the same boat we are, where you're just kind of sitting back and watching what happens results and then figuring out how you're going to go attack it while getting some reps in. So either way, it's been really exciting this weekend. Now, one of the things that's very clearly come out of this weekend is that EBravo, Elemental Bravo, which was how we'll be referring to him this evening, he's had a pretty good showing across the top tables. Now, disclaimer here, right? By no means is he the best. That's not what I'm sitting here and saying in any way. Please don't take it as such. But he's done very good, especially early, right? We're obviously in very, very early meta, so people are still trying to figure stuff out. People are going to go to what's easiest for them or what is attractive to them early, and things will shake out and people will figure it out and develop it over time. So in no way am I sitting here like that's not what this is, right? However, when people start to see someone consistently topping, top 8ing and stuff like that, and it's also something that's attractive to them, it will start to trickle down to your local metas, and we'll start to see a lot of Bravo popping up. So what I wanted to cover today is really just at a very 10,000 foot view how he works, and then kind of some little things that we can do to combat him at our locals. Now, today's cast is sponsored by our friends over at fabdb.net. And actually, that's what I used to prepare for today's cast. Is I actually just went in their collection and or their card search tool, and I just searched for discard. And I went through all the cards and looked at what fit and didn't and put them accordingly. And great tools over there. As you guys know, you can upgrade your subscription to unlock a whole bunch of other features like that, like dummy drafts and stuff like that, collection management. All sorts of tools over there. It's a great resource. Great resource for us Fab players. So thank you to FabDB. Right, so Bravo's star of the show, brand new out of Everfest. He's a very, very attractive hero, right? And what's interesting about him is being Guardian, having access to the largest card pool of any other heroes. That's maybe the biggest positive. But also, there's a lot of people who had been Bravo for a long time, or maybe they were an Oldham player for the last meta. It's a very easy conversion to go over to him, and he's new and exciting, so people want to go try him out. And I also think, and I really don't have any data on this, I just kind of suspect it, that a fair amount of the Cheerios Briar, or maybe, the Lightning Briar, I think a fair amount of those individuals maybe looked at moving over. Because Bravo's relatively easy to put together. I don't think he's very easy to play in terms of your timing and stacking and cycling and stuff like that. And actually, I think I think at the top tier, he's pretty complicated. But there's a lot to be said about just showing 2 cards, swinging for +2, dominate, and all that, right? So definitely some attractive things that can bring some people over from that. Let me adjust the lighting here real quick. I don't know why it's so bright. All right, sorry about that. Thank you. All right, so Bravo, as you can see there, if you can show at the beginning of your turn a card of all 3 elements, right? Now note, this is not the same as a fuse ability. It is showing them, right? So it's not, say, the same restrictions. You get a +2, a dominate, and a go again. Now, I think this is really cool design because it's basically embodying each of those elements, right? Imagining the +2 comes from earth, the dominate really harkens back to ice, And the go again, of course, is really a lightning trait. So that's very, very strong, right? And that's on a 3 or higher. That's not very hard for him to come up with. Oaken Old, which is not an Oldham specialization, by the way, right? Oaken Old is one of the best ones for that because it discards on hit. Really, really cripples a lot of things. It's very, very threatening, right? That coming in for 9, for 3, that's pretty scary. So, now that one does fuse, by the way. All right, so kind of at a 10,000 view, like 10,000 foot view, like I said, one of the fundamental strategies, if you will, for Bravo is to hold a pulse in hand, right? So the reason they'll do that is that pulse can then satisfy 2 of 3 of the element requirements. And then you really can increase your consistency. And remember, those other 3 cards that you have then can become your usage cards, right? So that is kind of, again, that's at a very, very 10,000 foot level. Let's not forget things like Crown of Seeds and all the other things that help him cycle and stack and set up. Not dismissing that at all, right? But one of the tools, right, that's one of his strengths, is to be able to play and kind of hold that card, but it's also his weakness. Because if we can take that card away, somehow get that card out, then we can make him, quote unquote, play a little more fair, right? So that's kind of the approach I'm using in the discussion tonight, is looking at discard across the game and who has it and who doesn't. So we are going to do this PTI style because it seems to fit for this type of stuff. Now you will notice top down, it's really no accident that I have it set up this way. It's kind of in top, who has access to most and who has access to tools like that. Man, it's a huge storm moving through. I hope you guys can't hear that. Sorry if you can, but this is the only time I've got to shoot. So we have Guardian. Holy man, that was quite the hailstorm. Anyway, back to it, right? So, like I said, top down is kind of looking at the people with the more tools. So Guardian are the classes classes and heroes with the more tools. So Guardian and Runeblade are at the top. Ranger is on there as well. I don't think that they fit in very well to the meta right now, but Illusionist as well. And and Illusionist is a little different, but we'll talk about that when we get there. But I don't think it's any accident that the classes that kind of have a little more access to stuff like that are probably doing pretty well. Prism, like I said, is a little different in how she approaches it, but she's also pretty well positioned in the Guardian. So as we go through this tonight, I did want to point out just some of my qualifiers here, right? Pummel, obviously, right? Everybody can use Pummel, but from a technical standpoint, everybody can use Pummel. But from a practicality and an ease of use standpoint, really not everybody can. Like you look at Warrior. Sure, they can use Pummel with CNC or something like that, but are they really going to do that? Probably not, right? And then you also have the cards like Amulet of Ice and Winter's Bite that I'm showing there at the bottom. They go in and they make people discard cards, but they can choose to pay instead of discard. So unless you get your timing exactly right, it's not exactly doing what you want to do. Does that make sense? So cards like that I didn't completely count really in the qualifiers tonight. Okay, so that's, like I said, that's just my line of thought. All right, so talking Guardian, and I'll admit here, Guardian has the most tools, and it's kind of ironic that from this strategy standpoint, Guardian is actually the best position to take down EBravo Guardian. But Pummel, of course, is no small matter there, right? You're always going to have whether it be Anathos, whether you're playing the Hammer, plenty of great options there. Those are both very, very, very good weapons. You also have Terra Sunder, which works great into that. You have Thump. Now, Thump didn't find a lot of home. By and large, it didn't perform very well in the last meta. But now that you have EBravo, who can throw out the +2 and the Dominate, you have that. Now, again, remember, one of Thump's advantages is that it gets the Dominate when you pump it, so that's kind of iterative, but it's still a discard. You have Oaken Old, which is, we already talked about that. That's amazing. We also have Biting Gale. And then good old Crippling Crush. I don't know if you guys have maybe been watching TCG Player, and it's not huge because it's only like a $4 card still, but that was like a $1.50 card, and then now it's like a $4 card. That's a pretty good return on investment if you were the person sitting on 10 million of those. That's a joke, by the way. It's a joke. Right, but Guardian, yeah. Guardian has a ton of tools for discard, and probably not. It's one of Guardian's strengths, right? The fact they can go get in your hand when they deliver those crushes or their hits. All right, Runeblade's also pretty well positioned. Now, they only have really 2 unique cards. They have Rika Corruption out of the new set, and then good old standby Consuming Volition. So we've talked about Consuming Volition before and why it's good. It has a really cool combo just with Grasp with a single blue for being a 2-card turn. That's great there. Now, Viscerai can really use... I've seen Viscerai be able to use Consuming Volition very well, because he can kind of do like the Chane thing. Sorry, not the Chane thing. He can get a good chain going to where he's pooping out a bunch of rune chants, and they're maybe pitching and stuff, and then all of a sudden that Consuming Volition comes down, and they're like, oh, hell. Right? And remember, aside from the pulses don't block aside from the D-React, which is the ice one. Right? So, well, I mean, they're both dual. The Ice Earth one. Sorry. Ice and Loft. So, anyway. So, I mean, I guess they use it there. And, well, I guess not if they have anything in their hand. But, and then, sure, maybe they'll be able to somehow cycle it. Maybe. It's a little harder to do once things are already moving. But either way, trying to get that out of their hand. Consuming Volition, I think, does a really good job on that. Rika Corruption, maybe not. You can slide it through, but it still puts pressure on their hand. And again, even if you're not able to necessarily get the pulse, you can at least live one more turn, right? Move forward for one more turn. Now, Ranger is interesting. Now, I want to be very clear here. I don't think Ranger is super well positioned within the current meta, just in terms of, and I mean both Rangers, right? I don't think they're super well positioned. Seek and Destroy does some pretty cool things. It's a good one because it's a nimbleism, effectively, which a lot of people still play with cool on hit effects. Battering Bolt will do things to, again, 2 of the 3 pulses, right? Because one's an instant, so they would just, well, I mean, they're not going to play it. I mean, it's an instant. I mean, it's about the Candlehold. I guess Candlehold's really the only impacted one there from Battering Bolt, right? Yeah, I think that's right, actually. And then Chilling Ice Vein there's some potential there on Chilling Ice Vein, right? To put a lot of pressure on, especially if you can land multiple hits, right? So that's neat as well. But like I said, Ranger's not super well positioned, but maybe as that picks up, maybe like Ice Lexi. I mean, Ice Lexi is always kind of there on the fringe, right? And maybe something like Chilling Ice Vein, they can start to pick apart EBravo. Rangers doesn't block real well. It's part of the problem, right? So, right now, Illusionist has Pummel. I have noticed from some of the lists I've seen this weekend, a lot of people aren't running Pummel because they're, the aura heavy builds. I think Pummel got eschewed for some of the new toys, which are really good. But the Spectra thing is interesting in its own way. And this is part of the reason that obviously Illusionist is pretty well positioned into Guardian. But you have Arclight Sentinel. Now, be careful on your timing on Arclight Sentinel, right? If they just show the cards and then go, like you'd have to drop Arclight Sentinel between the attack. Because remember, once they attack and it's already declared, right? If they attack and you do this in response, it's too late, all right? So you have to get it out before for them to do it. Or for you to be able to suck up that hit, or redirect the hit, I should say. Redirect the attack. And then the Spectras, right, a lot of times they're not going to waste something to blow up a Spectra. They'll just swing their weapon. But still, it buys you extra time that you're not getting dominated, and you're not getting stuff. You're not getting crushed, right? I mean, that's the main thing, is you're not getting crushed. Now, Brute is kind of interesting, and I'm probably going to take a little bit of hate from my Brute guys here. And it's not that... I don't think Brute's really well positioned in the current meta. I don't think that's a huge groundbreaking statement there. But they can use Pummel really, really easily. Part of the problem, I think, with the club is that if you're running like a club-focused strategy type deal, I think that, like, in most cases, doesn't Anothos just do it better, right? I think that's kind of the issue. So again, it's not that Brute can't compete here. It's not that Brute can't do what it wants to do. But if we're going, what I'm saying is, like, from a discard type perspective, like, wouldn't you, like, there's no Terra Sunder equivalent, you know what I mean? Now, the nice thing about the Brute Club is it's only 2. But Guardian doesn't have any problem coming up with 3s, usually, is what I'm saying. So, I think in this case, like, if you're trying to just go from, like, a pure hammer discard strategy, I think probably Guardian does it better, which I think fits into what we saw above. And then, bringing up the rear, Ninja, Wizard, Mech, Warrior, and Merchant. And actually, that's not entirely true of Merchant, because a lot of Cav Dame decks I've seen do play Pummel, because, I mean, it's neutral, and they play some big stuff. Well, some of them, there's 2 builds, right? There's the low build and the big build. Big build's obviously going to be playing Pummel. So that's fair. Maybe it's not entirely fair for me to have them there, but for the most part, these guys don't really have... Warrior has nothing, right? Really has nothing there. Mechanologist is in its own kind of class there. No, they're not really discarding, but they can do the control-wide thing. So, and we have seen a number of mechs, not as many, but we have seen a number of mechs make it in top 8 so far this weekend. Maybe we'll see more going forward. So this isn't necessarily saying that these are at the bottom of the meta. I'm just saying in terms of discard, these guys don't have really any tools, very, very few tools aside from just pummel. But again, it's one of those things, like I said, of can't you just do it better? So anyway, that's the thing for tonight, right? I mean, like I said, I think that the main easy line is to look at how we can really get in and disrupt Bravo's hand, kind of take that card away and make him quote unquote play fair, right? And make them not be able to sit on that. So that's kind of the approach. That's kind of the line tonight. Now, you guys out there, a lot of you guys have been putting in a lot of reps against this. I'd love to hear your feedback, right? Everything, right? What kind of luck have you been having against EBravo? How have you been taking him down? How have you been attacking him? Let's get the conversation started. There's a lot of new players that watch this who are going to be facing a lot of the meta decks, quote unquote, here in the next couple weeks as all this starts to trickle down. Let's start the conversation and figure out how we can move forward. So I'd love to hear from you below. And while you're there, make sure you've liked, subscribed, and help share and grow this channel and grow this game. So thanks, folks. This has been great. Now, I do want to remind everybody, if you're trying to fill out your decks, right, pick up all those new pieces that you're looking for the deck that you decided to decks that you've decided to really hone in on. Travis over at Fab Foundry is a really good guy. He actually has a Pro Quest, I think, next weekend or maybe the weekend after. I think it's the weekend after. Running that, he's a good guy, and he's got all the singles you need. And if you do go over there, use the the link below, and I actually get a small kickback from your purchase, but helps keeps my decks going. So that's appreciated as well. So anyway, folks, thanks for stopping by on the Sunday for just a casual cast. Sorry about I don't control the weather. Bravo does, but I don't. So anyway, folks, thanks for checking in, and go Commando.